Hi, I'm Dara, and this is A Right Way. I want to dive into the process of writing for animation. So, I've been fortunate enough to do some things for Disney and the Cartoon Network and a lot of other animation companies. And most of all, I'm also very proud that I have created my own projects, like written, directed, produced, even animated many things on my own. I love the visual medium that is animation, and to me, it is a medium and not a genre. Although a lot of the animated content, specifically that comes out of Hollywood, is geared towards younger audiences, animation can be for anybody and for everybody. And the anime world really can show an example of how it could even be for adult audiences. And to be honest, like even the quote unquote kids' cartoons, a lot of adults and even seniors enjoy those too. So it's a fascinating medium. And one of the things to keep in mind when you write for animation is that this is an opportunity for your imagination to soar. I mean, there's nothing that stops you. Like, if you have a live action script for film and you want to have a car that actually falls in love with a crane, for example. Okay, that would be a very expensive film to make. It would take a lot of special effects to show that in a live action world. But and with animation that's complete, where there are artists bringing these characters to life, you could do that. There's really not a lot of limitations. You can have characters that travel to different galaxies, or they go underwater, or they go to the Earth's core. That would be very expensive to do if you were doing a live action. But once again, animation lends for a lot of opportunities for a different level of visual storytelling. And that's one of the most important things to keep in mind when you write for animation. You want that script to have visuals that truly come to life that can only be done in an animated space. And there's a lot of different ways that you could play with it, but um, one of the things that comes to mind if you watch a lot of the classic cartoons, you can show a character that's angry, and instead of them just raising their voice and pacing the floor, maybe they turn red with anger, like literally, and their eyes like start bulging out and getting like really big and giant and almost exploding. That's an example of some of the fun things that you can do in animation. So when you write your script, you want to find a way to add in those moments in a way that's authentic to that story. And remember, when it comes to animation, the more, like, as much as we try to focus on visuals with live action film, that is all in on animation. So typically there are some animations that don't even start off with the script. It starts off with storyboards, imagining each particular moment with these characters. If you can use your imagination for a second and picture like a clothesline with a lot of different pictures, or how storyboarding, a lot of things are done digitally now, but there was a time when people would just put those pictures in kind of different shots up on the wall and look at them and analyze them and see, was this visually moving the story forward. And some animations don't even have dialogue. It's just complete, all pictures. So there are many examples of that. One of the most recent examples I can think about is the animated film Flow, about the cat, and that was done in Blender. I am a Blender head. I've been using Blender for 10 years now, and I'm self-taught with that program. It's free, it's open source, and it's a wonderful tool to create remarkable animations. I love, love, love Blender. And I'm so happy to see that that writer director was able to accomplish something different and unique. And there's not one bit of dialogue in Flow. You're just kind of, following this cat on this journey. So this is an example of what I mean. If that was done in a live action setting, that would have been a completely different kind of movie, and extremely costly at that. So one thing to keep in mind with animation is that it's becoming more accessible. Of course, from a storytelling standpoint, you can write your script. And if you want to take things to the next level, you might even take some online tutorials or, study up and learn how to animate your own script, as I've done. So it's so much that you can do. And writing for animation, the other thing I love about this medium is that it's oftentimes it's timeless. If you go back in time, you can think about classic animations that come on year after year after year, and it still kind of resonates and connects in a way to me that sometimes live action films don't age as well. They don't age the same way, and animation has that very special quality too. So you want to think of a story that's has a lot of visuals, ways that you can play up the visuals and really emphasize it so that audiences are drawn in, not just by characters talking back and forth, but also with amazing pictures. And you can start off by, indicating what you want to be in that script. And the next level in that process is the storyboarding process, which often may inform a complete overhaul of the script. Because after you do the storyboards, you may see things that stand out or need to be tweaked or emphasized more. And, there's another step where, step one, you may start with an actual script. Step two, you get in with artist and storyboard. Some of that's being done digitally now, and sometimes you might be the artist, or you may hire an artist or work with somebody that you know to do that. And if it's a big studio company, they have a team of storyboard artists. And the next step would be recording what we call scratch voices. So scratch voices are, voices that you may. I've done my own scratch voices. It's just a fun way of bringing these to life. It's not a professional recording, but you actually record all of the dialogue. And maybe you get a couple friends together, you guys sit at a table, do your scratch voices, and then if it's in a studio, they may still do this in a professional setting, but these are not necessarily like the big name actors that we see oftentimes when a multi-million-dollar film is released. These scratch voices could also be the animators who work on the project. They say sometimes that animators are frustrated actors, and I can understand that because animators actually act and bring it to life visually. They bring that script to life. So after you have your scratch voices recorded, then you match up the storyboards with a scratch voice, which creates what we call an animatic. An animatic is the blueprint for the animation. And this is an opportunity to make changes, to adjust things. And oftentimes at this point, a script may be revised or rewritten based on what works and what doesn't work. And the final step is for the animators to actually go in. There's a process a little different for 2D animation versus 3D animation, but the artists and animators will go in. They will actually go shot by shot using the animatic as a reference, and then in the end you have this very, very awesome, hopefully amazing animation that comes out. And as a writer, it starts off with, the writers and those visual artists are on the ground floor, but you're part of creating this. And typically animations can take anywhere between, a year and a half to 3 years to 5 years. This is a very long process with a lot of different steps, but it does start off with a story idea, and that's where you come in. So when you write for animation, don't limit yourself. Think big, think grand, and most of all, have fun and keep writing. Thank you for watching.